Can these nutrients replace your pain pills? Part 1. Hey everybody, this is Mike Erlob coming at you from the Flex Compound with another episode of Power Your Life. So, you know that you've ever noticed how dogs sometimes eat the strangest things? Clearly our Pekingese Poodle mix, Boo, is no exception. The other day, after the rain, I let Boo outside early in the morning. And the thing was, he was so focused on something on our back patio that he just refused to come inside. So it was really dark. It was really early in the morning. It was like at 5 a.m. So I really couldn't quite tell what he was doing. But it seemed like he was eating something off of our patio. Now, it had rained the night before, and there were all of these earthworms all over the patio. And when I turned on the patio light, I all of a sudden realized that he was eating these earthworms. And he was so intent on eating every single one that he just absolutely refused to listen to me when I was calling for him to come back inside. And I can tell you what, I could not believe he was eating these things. I mean, he was just like going from one to the other to the other. You know, it's like he couldn't get enough of these earthworms. And, you know, it really surprised me. I was so surprised at this when I finally got him to come back in the house that, later that day I went online and I looked up to see, if there were other instances where dogs had been known to eat earthworms. And I was really surprised when I found out that according to the American Kennel Club website, that it was actually normal for some dogs to do this. And, it was actually a fairly common behavior that has been noted in quite a few animals. So I looked at some other websites too, and they all kind of said, well, they could be eating earthworms because the dog has a nutritional deficit. But ultimately, the common consensus was, although this behavior does happen, no one really knows why some dogs eat these earthworms. And I gotta say, it's hard to tell what possessed Boo to eat these things, but I suppose that he had his own motivation for this behavior. There must have been some kind of need that he was trying to fulfill. Whatever his reason, it just seemed pretty disgusting to me. And then this got me thinking. You see, all of us have a need for something in our lives, and most all of us have this need for peace, joy, and love. And many times we try and fulfill this need with material things or hollow accomplishments. And it seems that the more we strive to find that peace, joy, and love with material things, the more we find that those things really don't give us what we're looking for. My own experience has proven to me that the only way to find true peace, joy, and love is to trust in a power that is greater than ourselves. You see, it is only when you are willing to let go and let God that you find what you are truly looking for. So speaking of trying to fill what's missing in your life, what nutrients are missing in your diet? And if I told you that there are some naturally occurring nutrients out there that could actually replace your pain pills or your non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, what would you say? What would your reaction be? Well, I'll tell you what, your reaction is probably a lot like mine when I first found out about these amazing nutrients and compounds that I'm going to talk about today. You see, I thought, first thought in my head was, yeah, right. Why haven't I heard of them before? If they're so amazing, why hasn't why didn't I know about them? Why isn't this being advertised? Well, the answer to that is actually quite complex. But let's just say this, that society right now is not set up to bring the most important information to light. You see, there are those who seek to suppress this kind of truth because they have a monetary gain in keeping you dependent on pain pills, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, the never-ending treatments that just keep you coming back to them. Okay? So, another thought that I had when I found out about these is this is too good to be true. There's no way these nutrients and compounds could work. This is a normal and expected response that I had, but the truth is that there is not only solid scientific evidence for these nutrients and compounds, but I personally have experienced the power of these nutrients. Another response that I had was not another fix-all pill. I've tried everything and nothing works. I'm just going to have to live with this pain in my back and my knees. Okay, look, that kind of thought is a flat-out lie. that so many of us just tell ourselves, right? You see, the truth is, you don't have to give up. You see, you never truly fail at anything until you stop trying. And when you stop trying because you believe that lie, that is when you have actually failed. Look, you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. Your body is an amazing machine, and it has incredible recuperative and healing abilities. You just need the right fuel for your machine to do its job. Now, I used to be a competitive powerlifter, okay? So for those of you who don't know what that sport is, it's a sport where you basically try and lift as much weight as you can in 3 lifts, in a squat, in a bench press, and in the deadlift. And there's all kinds of competitions that set up. And I used to compete. I did this for over 8 years in local, state, and national competitions. And I'm going to tell you that the years of heavy lifting, it took its toll on my body. Back in 1999, I actually suffered a career-ending knee injury. And what happened is I actually tore off some cartilage off the end of my right femur, just in the knee. And surgery couldn't repair the damage, all right? And I suffered for over 17 years with knee pain that just kept getting progressively worse. Now, I couldn't run, I couldn't jump, I couldn't kneel. I was having trouble squatting deeply without pain. You see, and I thought, I told myself, I said, well, this is just how it's going to be. Okay, I just have to live with it. At some point in time, I'm probably going to need a knee replacement, so I'm just going to have to live with it. But in 2016, I was introduced to this amazing joint supplement called Joint NutriCare. Now, I had tried these kind of supplements before, and to be honest with you, the stuff I tried in the past didn't work. But a friend of mine convinced me to not give up and to keep trying. So I started taking it. Now, at first, I gotta be honest, I didn't notice any difference, okay? In fact, it really took me over 6 weeks of taking this in order to see any change. And then something really cool happened. I went to this conference in Southern California. Now, when you go to a physical therapy conference, you're doing physical therapy stuff, right? And this conference was about using taekwondo and martial arts and using yoga, okay, and how to implement those into your physical therapy practice. So when you think about martial arts and you think about taekwondo, guess what we were doing? A lot of punching and kicking. Man, it was a lot of fun. And we did a lot of yoga too. So I had to bend and squat and do a lot of those things that, I kind of wondered if it was going to make my knee hurt. In fact, when we went to the conference, we had to sign a waiver ahead of time that if we got hurt, we couldn't sue the company. And so, this was a 3-day conference. And on about day 2, I all of a sudden noticed my knee didn't hurt. And I actually completed all 3 days of this. And I had already been on this joint supplement, this Joint NutriCare, for a while. And I was really surprised. I couldn't believe it because my knee didn't hurt. At the end of the 3 days, we did all kinds of punching and kicking and jumping and squatting and yoga stuff, and it didn't bother me. And so then when I got home, I thought, well, something's going on here. Let me try this out. Let me stop taking this supplement. Let me see what happens. So then I stopped taking it. And within a couple of weeks of stopping taking the supplement, my knee pain started coming back. So that's when I knew I was onto something. I knew that this Joint NutriCare could be very, very helpful. And so I went back on it, and I've been on it ever since. And it's gotten to the point now where my knee and my back, they continued to improve, and it got to the point to where I was actually able to start jogging. This last summer, after years, all those years of pain, and I wasn't able to run or jump, I am now able to run over 2 miles. And I have been running over 2 miles 3 times a week for the last year. Now, I know 2 miles doesn't sound like much, but I'm telling you, when you haven't ran for all of those years, for over 17 years like that, because actually it's even longer, it's more like 20 years, that you can't do it at all. Just the fact of being able to go out and even run a mile, for me, was a really big deal. Now, I know that joint supplement has been helping me to do that because I've been continuing to do that almost now coming up on a year that I've been able to continue with that kind of a workout regimen. So let's talk a little bit about what's in this joint supplement that's called Joint NutriCare. So the first thing I want you to understand is joint supplements have come a long way since the early glucosamine chondroitin products, okay? So what I want to do now is I want to take the next several weeks to start looking at the key ingredients and talking about those in Joint NutriCare. Now, one of the key ingredients is what's called collagen type 2. Now, collagen type 2 is sourced from chicken sternum cartilage. And this is a major component of our joint cartilage. In fact, there was a study from the Journal of HealthMed, and I happen to have it right here, okay? And in this study, what they did is they looked, and first of all, they were trying to figure out how this works. How does collagen type 2 work? And what they've come to know is that it helps stimulate the growth and development of cartilage cells in the body. It helps the cartilage to stay healthy and actually helps the body to grow new cartilage. Now, in this study, what they did is they took people who had joint pain and problems, and they had pain that had been there for at least 3 months, or at least that long. Most of them were a lot longer. And then the subjects, they took the collagen type 2 for 30 days. Then what they did is they measured the subjects' range of motion, their general pain levels, and their muscle strength. And guess what? Within 30 days, 78% of those subjects reported significant improvements in their joint pain, their motion, and their strength levels. You see, arthritis and degenerative joint disorders, they will cause muscle weakness, loss of motion, reduced balance and position sense, in addition to the pain. And arthritis and degenerative joint problems, they cause a swelling in the joint that actually shuts down the muscle activity of those joints. This, what we call inhibition, results in the loss of muscle size that's known as atrophy. And the result is that the joint gets weaker. And not only does it get weaker, but due to the chronic swelling, the joint gets stiffer with loss of motion. And then the pain starts in. Now, the collagen type 2, it improved all of these areas in just 30 days. And it did it by improving the health of the cartilage, by giving the joint the building blocks needed to grow and heal the cartilage of the joint. Now, in this study, this collagen type 2 was shown to be effective and beneficial for those with degenerative joint diseases such as cartilage injuries, connective tissue disorders, osteoarthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis. So how amazing and awesome is that? And this is just the first ingredient of Joint NutriCare. But there's another compound that has shown amazing potential in reducing joint pain that's in this ingredient list. And that ingredient is, you're just going to have to wait until next time for that one, okay? So we'll be talking about these other ingredients and all of them that are in this supplement. We'll be talking about the research behind them. But, by the way, if you are suffering from any joint or back pain and you really want help fixing it for good, then you need to sign up for our back pain breakthrough session now. You can do this at the link that's in the show notes. As always, I'm going to leave you with a thought-provoking quote. This time it's from Mother Teresa, and she said, "Peace begins with a smile." Think about that one. Until next time, power your life and keep moving forward.